I am so honored that all of you are here. So I will try to get calm now. So what I'm going to talk about today, and Monica does not know, but you inspired me with my talk because Monica Bezabris, we were planning her talk for the undergraduate research seminar a few weeks ago, and she's going through all the thing, and then she gets, and then I need to do the big so what. And I realized that I say the big so what all the time, that she just said this unconsciously. So I thought that's what this is all about. That's why I'm calling it the reflection. You're going to find out why it was called the big so what. But thank you, Monica, for inspiring me. Lots of thanks. First, Paula and Jennifer, who have worked so tirelessly to organize this, and they're busy people, and I really appreciate them doing that. Then people, Mary Workman, Karen Eldridge, and Martha Hess helped me get a lot of these pictures, so I really appreciate that. There are people here from lots of places. My children are here from Washington, D.C. and from Charlotte today, but I've got a student here that's over here from Nashville. So they're just people from lots of different places, so I'm just so honored that you're here today. And I really thank you all for coming. All I'm going to be able to say is thank you, because I'll get upset. But he's really, really special, and all of you who know me know how special he is. So that's all I can say. All right. You can ask me later why he's so special. But he is. Besides from being a special agent, right? Right. That's what. So anyways. So see? All right. So luck is so important in life, and when it really became, when I really started thinking about it was when I was writing my dissertation. And Frank Knight, he wrote this book called, this article called "The Ethics of Competition," and he says there are three elements which affect the question of who is to win. There's ability to play, effort, and luck. And he always argued that the luck is so large and we often underestimate it. But I have really been lucky. I always say to my students, it's not who you know, it's being prepared to take advantage of your good luck. And here we are on my graduation day in 1990. James, there's your mama up there looking different than she was. And I was really lucky because I graduated in 1990, and that year Maryville College decided they would hire 2 economists. And I had taught as an adjunct in the spring, and I got the job. So because I had gone and I was prepared to take advantage of this really good luck. But there was a lot more good luck than just having a job where my husband lives, because I always wanted to live with my husband. And so having a commuting marriage most of the time, yeah. And what was really lucky for me is what I value and prize really is a lot of what Maryville College values and prize. So it was really lucky for me to be here, and I'm going to talk about some of those things. First of all, that Maryville College is a liberal arts college, and we try to prepare the world for a world of uncertainty and change. We are a community for learning, and then we try to prepare students for life and citizenship. And those are the 4 things that I want to talk about today. Preparation in the liberal arts is why I was prepared to take care of my luck. This is, all right, all you people graduating, 1974, that's me graduating from college with my mother and dad. And some of you know this, I was an English major, but being a liberal arts graduate gave me a direction. I wanted to be a liberal arts professor. That's why I went over and got my PhD. But being an English major also gave me the disciplines to learn a new discipline. And so I was prepared in the liberal arts to be able to take advantage of where I was. The other thing that's really important is being, as I say, is a community of learners. And so I had to learn. There's Malcolm Gladwell talks about the 10,000 hours of deliberate practice. And really the first 6 years, and here's Christine, was one of my teachers out there. She was here in the first 6 years when I was learning to be a teacher. And that 10,000 hours is really about 5 or 6 years. Now I had help as I learned. The whole idea of the big so what comes from Marcia Keith. She taught all of us. I mean, she later came on, but she actually, I went over to her and I would teach me. And so closure, jigsaw, concept map, every person in this room that's done a team problem set in economics is because she and I worked together on this project. And we came up with that. And this picture was so cool when they sent pictures. History of Thought people, that's one of our Adam Smith abstracts. So they actually took a picture of that. Then I had to learn how to balance compassion with tough love. And I spent a lot of time in the rocking chair in Martha's office talking about that. I mean, when is the time I really have to hammer down, and when is the time that I need to find compassion? And she was really helpful with me in learning how to do that. Then I had to learn from my students. And as I go through this, I don't have pictures of all students, so unless I call out their names particularly, these are representative students that represent all of the students that have taught me. This is, what year are these? This is the soccer team, right, Pepe? 93?
No, that's more like 90.
90, all right, so I came in 90, they came in 90. Yeah. All right, and so when you're learning how to be a teacher, you know economics, but you have no idea about being a teacher. And these are some of the people that sat in my classroom, and Christine was always, her face was, she could always communicate with me that either you made sense or what in the world did that lady just say? So I really needed these people here to help me, and they were really important in doing that. And then you got to have a buddy. Because Mary Kay and I were our offices were across from each other. We came at the same time, and oh my gosh, we were just so stressed in our 10,000 hours and like, are we going to get this problem right or something like that? So when you're a new teacher, you need to have a buddy that normalizes what's happening, that, oh, you're not really this bad and what's going on. Because I had the same thing just happen to me. But when you go to a liberal arts college, there's a lot more than just teaching, all right? I had to learn a lot more stuff than that. First of all, I had to learn to be a scholar. I wrote this book called The Revival of Laissez-Faire that was published in 2002, and in it I argued that there was some problem that economists were so influenced by ideology of the markets. This was like the great vindication because Alan Greenspan had to testify to that at the, this is in 2011. He says, well, remember that what an ideology is the conceptual framework with the way people deal with reality. And he basically said, when we're running the Fed into the ground in 2008, we were influenced by an ideology. So that was interesting. I also got really interested in economists being public intellectuals. John Maynard Keynes was one of my inspirations because he really did that before he wrote his economics. And here, over time, I learned to go out there and talk about topics. This is in 2012, the Tennessee amendments, and I was talking about that we should not put the anti-income tax amendment in there, but I wasn't persuasive, obviously, because it was passed. I've also, because I've always been concerned about economic justice, I've spent a lot of time thinking about payday lending and that. And then in January, Francis and I were both writing about great women. And this is this woman I discovered right over here, Miss Burns. I'm so sad I didn't know about her because she was living in Washington, D.C. Started really helped in founding the Social Security system. And so I got to find out about her. So now it's important for me to stay alive intellectually and learn this, but it's also really important. Oh, here's one more. before we get this. This is what I actually got to practice being an economist. All right, now studying the Great Recession, does anybody know? We're 2006, and then you know anything about this data? This is sales data. It's going down, it's going up, but it's before the Great Recession. It starts to fall in 2007. Everybody see that? Well, Bruce Gilliam and I were over there in the rocking chairs. This is from Mountain Challenge, and we found out that Mountain Challenge seems to be a leading economic indicator, which was not great. But notice it went up before the economy did, right? So it was kind of cool to be able to practice and think about, because I thought about economics a lot on campus and what we were doing. Now, but I also had other things to do, and one of the really good things about doing research is that you have to learn how to, you learn a research model, and that helps you do senior studies. Now, that pile there, what percentage of the senior studies have I done that you think that represents, that pile? No, it's not 1 year. 50%. So it's 50%. So look at all the stuff I learned. I think here's two. Did I do yours, Jennifer? I don't think so.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah, but I did their senior thesis. I've been working on some of these people's senior thesis here. I had to learn how to write letters of recommendation. And by the end, I had so many, the only way I could keep them all straight, I have a blackboard in my room, so I'd always put them on the wall and try to, so I remember that I'd done them. But you had to learn how to do that, and I think that's what I do the best now. I can write a letter of recommendation really fast. That's pretty good. You had to learn how to serve on committees, because we're on committees all the time. Lori and I, it was 3 years, wasn't it, Lori? Every Tuesday, Thursday, for 3 years, we sat down there. It's not even a room anymore, doing the general education, that the graduating seniors, you are completing that, and Lori and I helped work on that. And at the same time, I was on our academic life council, because they thought, oh, well, we've got the young person here. She can do both of these committees. So I did do both of these committees, but I really learned a lot. I learned how to be a member of a committee. I learned about curriculum development, and as Jennifer mentioned yesterday, it prepared me for serving on many committees, right? So, all right, now the other thing I want to emphasize, I talked about all my learning. I wanted to emphasize that we are a community, all right? And first of all, so I get this job. Andrew and Scott Brunger's son are in a swim meet over here in Maryville. This is the summer, and this guy sits by the pool and reads this thing for me. This is pretty big. I mean, I knew I was coming to a nice place, because he was willing to sit by the pool and read this thing and make sure that I didn't have any mistakes. I'm going to show you several pictures of the social sciences division. This is in the early 90s. You can't see too well, but I really did have brown hair at one time. And yeah, many of us had brown hair at one time. Here is a more recent one, but we haven't taken one lately. And what is really important, social sciences, we have an opportunity to work with a lot of students, and sometimes it gets really pressure-packed. So what has been so great about this is that we laugh together, we talk together, we solve problems together, we create together, and we have done that for 26 years. It's a very creative and supportive group of people, and that community has really helped me. And then this is a little bragging, but I always like to think that maybe I helped persuade these 4 people when I was division chair to come to our campus, because they've made a really big difference. Those are some people that when I was division, I know it was all of you, but I'm really feel happy that they're here because they've just helped the college just like social science has. There's my classroom community. This is my group, my last History of Thought class. We had so much fun this spring. And we're a community too. They taught me as much stuff as I teach them. I learned from senior studies. Corey Everett did a senior study about comparing healthcare in Shangri-La in Blount County, because Scott Henson took him over to Shangri-La. It was really interesting. One of the most memorable moments that I had was I sent Corey over. He had come back from Shangri-La, and he was talking about how all these prices were, all the little healthcare centers he went to, there were prices, you know, and Shangri-La's communist China. So I said, Corey, I want you to go over to the hospital and find out what the price is for a particular procedure. And he comes back and he said, they couldn't tell me one because there is no set price. And I'm going, yeah, isn't this interesting? Capitalism, where we use prices to communicate information, and you can get a price over there in Shangri-La, but you can't here. He went on and got a degree in hospital administration, and he's doing something over there in the Blount County Hospital. And then this year, Monica and I have been doing an economic analysis of immigration, because there's a lot of heat and light out there, right? And we've learned what things are true and what things are not, and we grounded a lot of it in economic theory. So it was a very interesting scholarly study. She taught me something new every week that she came in. So I've learned a lot. Those are just a couple of them, but I've learned a lot from seniors. I've learned so much different stuff. I can do a marketing senior thesis like that, because I know so much about marketing. All right, now this is another community. Look at these. What's the difference? No, one person, you can't see. What's the difference? What's the same and what's the difference in these two pictures? What's the same and what's different? There are arrows in both, right? Pointing to shapes. One's what? One's labeled, one's not. That's right. Well, I've got to do so many cool things, but one cool thing I got to do was to be a guest coach for Randy Lambert's basketball team. And over here, that's an economics graph right here. And these are all the things that we talk about, and I put this up on the board and all that kind of stuff. But I went in, they let me go into the locker room too after everybody had sort of cleaned up a little bit. And I saw him up there doing this. And I went, darn, if they can learn this, they can learn economics. It's not any different. So Randy, we are this community where I've learned from lots of people. And as I said, I can't talk. There's so many people in this room. I could tell you a story about everybody in this room, but I'm only going to tell you two because I love that story. So there's Randy, and Randy is a really good teacher, and if I had gone to the soccer locker room, I would have found the same thing in the soccer locker room. All right, now the other cool thing is Bruce and I have always cared about wellness. And that's sort of been like our little secret campaign. How can we make this campus healthier? And so this is another thing, because we work in community, this really cool thing happened this spring. One of my advisees was saying, I want to do something meaningful in my last semester. And he was writing a senior thesis, this is another one I've learned, about soda taxes and are they a good way to deal with the obesity crisis. So I knew that he really cared about this. I knew that Bruce really cared about doing something wellness. I got to make an introduction. They started Camp 4. And we had a lot of people participate right this far. And it was so cool. They came and talked about, he and Caitlin Hogg, this is Brad Hampton and Caitlin Hogg, talked about what they'd done. But he just let them loose. They just said, all right, you guys go out there and do this. So here's another example of learning that we all here do together, which has made Maryville special for me. All right, so this is all the people I've been working with and who have been teaching me. The other thing is that we prepare students for lives of citizen service. And I have always felt, and why I've found my work meaningful, is I feel like we are training people to go out there and make the world work. You know, some people might not be, shouting from the rooftops. They are just going out there. They're doing the jobs that keep society to go every day. So, for example, everyone on this list was somebody who sat in my class who is now serving Maryville College on a daily basis. So everybody took a class, and I could tell some of their gifts. I knew a long time ago what they would be good at because I saw them in the classroom. And I see a couple of you are here. Then the college recognized, we had the Ken Takahashi Award, and these are some people that I really got to work with who have won. Over here were Adriel and Christine and I are at a basketball game. And Lodge McCammon, who's now out there, he was an economics major. I either worked on their thesis or I worked with, I was their advisor. And here's Smith Jean-Philippe, who we have said are people that really have contributed to the world. These two over here are also on the board of directors. I do want you to notice, I don't think Adriel has changed. This is graduation. He does not really. Does he really look that different?
And actually, I graduated 1 year earlier.
Is it, have I got the wrong year? So this is like 16 years ago. Look at this guy. He doesn't look it. I look different. He doesn't look any different. All right, these are all students that I've worked with or are serving in alumni chapters out there, at some level. Here's Chrissy Newton, and these people are members of our business advisory board. So they really have come back to the college. Here we have, as I said, we have people serving as teachers for the last quarter of a century. When I've taught money and banking, I've always brought bankers to come and talk to the students to see if what I'm talking about in the book is really out there in the world. And in recent years, they've all been alumni of my class, so that's really been cool. This is the one we just did in April. Then I have. They go out there and they form life partnerships. And Mary Kay, here we are. Mary Kay and I were dates at this wedding. We were, but there's so many, and there's so many. I've been so privileged to go to a lot of different weddings over the years as people, I've watched some of these people fall in love. I always tell them when I see them, when you're mad at your spouse, come and call me and I'll remind you about how you were falling in love. And I remember that. They're raising the next generation. These two women were economics majors. They sat together sort of right here all the way through school. And last summer, they both had babies together. And they brought their babies to see me. But they're all, there's lots of our alumni out there raising the next generation well. This one's going to be hard too, isn't it? These are also girls that are friends. This is the same soccer girls that taught me how to teach. And one of these dear girls got sick, and these girls just rallied around her and held her up and she came a few years ago, and what year was that she won? About 3 years ago, right? She was named for the Wall of Fame. Go online and read her speech about how sports helped her cope with her cancer. It's one of the most amazing things I've ever heard. But these girls rallied around her. This is where they came when you all were seniors, and they came for her award. So I guess it would be 4 years ago. You all were freshmen, right? And they came and went to inspire the women's soccer team and then honor Molly. And then when Molly, unfortunately we lost Molly, but there's this wonderful award that's in her name, and here these girls are presenting. So they made sure that Molly has continued on. And some of my students have won that award, the Molly Hewitt Sears Award, so that's really exciting. I just love this picture. This is John Hultquist. This is, I think, his second tour in Iraq. And he decided, I think I'm going to do a readings course. Now, here he is, sitting on a tank reading Capitalism and Freedom. And he sent that picture to me. I think after a while he couldn't continue. It was sort of hard to be in war and try to read, economic philosophy. But it was a really cool thing to try to help him cope with that. So there are just lots of students. As I said, there's so many stories I could tell you about students and what they're doing. But those are just some representative students. Now, a lot of you know this has been a really hard decision for me to retire. And there's some people here that have helped me make this decision. And I think when I finally was able to make the decision, I read this. Forrest Church is a Unitarian minister. And he says, our lives stop in the middle. They do not reach a conclusion. They simply stop. That's where Marcia was wrong. We can't always have closure. The middle of the story is where all of our lives ended. And I realized at that point that I am going to have to leave Maryville College in the middle of the story. So as I finish here, I'm leaving in the middle of the life of the college. I'm thinking about the 3 senior thesis students that I'm going to leave halfway finished. I have 11 formal advisees and so many other young people that I get to talk to all the time. Leaving in the middle of delivering academic programs for 27 students. Leaving in the middle of figuring out what are we going to do with this academic calendar review and how is that going to change the life as we go on. Grateful that we have a water heater, but wondering, are we going to have blinds that work functionally? We have them, but they don't always work. Y'all don't know I wanted hot water, right, Mark? Oh. It was in my will. There was going to be a plaque, but we got it. So, all right. How will MC work out? How's that going to change the experience for our students in the new general education curriculum? Find out if this rewarding partnership that that's been formed. I've really been on a good committee the last 3 years. The strategic enrollment and retention team. Russ, who else? Anybody else here? Yeah, Russ is here. Jason's here. I've really enjoyed it because it's faculty and staff working in partnership, trying to figure out, think about retention. And so we really get there and brainstorm, had great ideas. And I wonder, will they figure out to determine easily? Because we've been trying to Jason's been working so hard on a data set, and Russ helped us with a survey this year. Why students stay and thrive at Maryville College, and so on. I could continue on and tell you about these things in the middle of the life of the college. This picture, I think Mary Workman took this picture, and I just love it. This is an earlier bank, but I just think it shows the joy that I felt working here. I'm really happy. I'm not a very photogenic person, so I was really pleased that she got this really good picture. That's Tiffany Grayson here, and Brian, and there's Adriel, still looking the same age. Well, that's a good thing. But I think that just typifies the joy that I have felt having an opportunity to be at this place and have all this good luck to find a place where I could thrive and have this career that I love so much. And now it's time to commence. And all you guys were doing it in 4 years. How many days, Callie? 9. Callie tells me every day. All took you guys 4 years, taking me 26. This is what commencement means. So it's a time of new beginnings. It's my very favorite day of the year at the college. There's Mary Kay in the center, but I'm back here. We're standing, watching, where, first of all, it's so fun to sit there and watch students that we have seen grow and develop over 4 years, and they're walking across that stage. Jim and I always go up to every single one of them and say, all right, and I said this today to Spencer when he came in with his finished thesis. I said, well, Spencer, how many people started out in your class in high school? And it's maybe 100, he said about 400. And how many graduated, and we get to 300. And then how many went to college, and we get to 250. And then we say, Spencer, how many people, this is Spencer Schaffner, how many people are graduating in 4 years? And he just was taken aback because he had never thought about that before. And this happens over. So you guys think about that. Think about how many are graduating in 4 years. That's something else special that we do here is you get through. But anyways, we sit there and we watch because we get to see you change. We watch you grow up and change. And we see you walk across the stage, and then you get to come out, and we get to clap for you and all this kind of stuff. It's a very cool thing. It's really, really a cool commencement. So I'm looking forward to commencing with a class of 2016. And like them, I'm going to be looking out into the world, waiting to see what I discover in my new beginning with my love over here. And then I have, some of you will see these great young people and all that kind of stuff. So anyways, I thank you for your attention today.